Hey, good morning. Robert Phoenix here. Looks like YouTube is not taking the handshake today. Not, it's decided to not pick up the signal. It's the way it is. It's the way it is in modern times. So we're here live on 15 Minutes of Flame, and I hope that you YouTube or you YouTube folks can come on over and watch it. If you don't find me on YouTube, you can always find me over on 15 Minutes of Flame and check out what's happening over here on this side of things. So, what's happening? What's going on? This is your blue collar astrologer, Robert Phoenix, beaming at you live from Fredericksburg, Texas. Let me just check in with the chat. See what's going on over here. Morning. Yep, I pushed all the right levers, all the right buttons, and not happening on robertphoenix.com or the 50 Minutes of Flame side over on YouTube. Not happening. It's a bummer. It is a bummer. Let me just go back to the homepage again. Nope. Nope. Ain't happening. God. You know, my father used to say, "Would that really frost my ass?" I kind of feel that way. Kind of frost my ass. So, what's going on? We're going to have the show. We're going to continue this shoe. Got to keep it going. All right. So today is the 25th of June, and I've got a few interesting tidbits for you to digest. First of all, let's get into the chart of the moment. Here we go. A little astrology for your eyes here. Of course, we have Cancer rising, Mars on the first house cusp right there. Seems like at the 8 a.m. hour, we're in the late degrees of Cancer rise, which is cool, right? I get to water the garden. I get to water the digital garden and bring you guys, hopefully, some spiritual and emotional and psychological sustenance on a daily basis. I'm cool with that. Aries on the midheaven, which gives a little fire to the proceedings. We got Moon in Aries today, by the way. And the moon is in that third quarter phase. I guess we'd call this waning gibbous right now. And it is conjunct Chiron. Kind of emotional. You know, this is like, put up the dukes sort of emotional energy with the moon Chiron conjunction. And squaring off against the sun. Oh, fiery energies. Come on up. Let's go, Jasper. Speaking of fiery, the fire cat is here. Jasper. I like looking at the moon during these daily sort of astrological updates, what the moon is doing. There's a lot of passion in the sky today, a lot of passion on the inside. So, get fired up, get things done. This could be a very productive day. Even with Mars in Cancer, you got the conjunction with Mercury. Make up your mind and make it happen. Get into the flow. Right, Jasper? Get into that flow. What else do we have? I think the moon is probably the biggest augur of what's happening now. And let's see, we've got Mercury in opposition to Pluto. Oh, that's interesting too. The Mercury-Pluto opposition, which is here, you can see that. Mercury-Pluto opposition is about breaking away and having your own thoughts. Having your own thoughts. Those thoughts independent of what the plutocracy or the powers that be would theoretically want you to have. And that's part of today's discussion, by the way. And it fits into the overall kind of arcing narrative of what's taking place in the media and the alternative media. Let me get back to here. Here he is. You missed his entrance. This is the most active cat, I believe, on the internet. I know Nathan loves his Doshi. He's got Doshi love, but Doshi doesn't do anything. Doshi sits there. I guess Doshi's some kind of Zen cat. He just kind of, he's a Tao cat. Not Jasper. Jasper's in on it. Jasper's in. So the overarching narrative that I'm talking about is what happened just recently with Project Veritas. You guys got to check this out. This is really a big deal, and it speaks to kind of where we are in terms of throttling information. Now, it is very clear that YouTube and Google were part of the same company, right? Part of Alphabet, because Google was already broken up once. It went from Google to Alphabet, and they are very clear that they do not want the 2016 result to happen again. They've had lots of internal memos, internal discussions, not only just memos, they've created machine learning algorithms. I want to show you a picture of somebody. This is a woman. Her name is Jen Janai. Jen Janai. Look at the nose on her. Holy smokes. She is head of responsible innovation. And this is a copy. This is a still of her from a video where she's being essentially catfished by Veritas and spilling all the beans. All the beans. Now, what's interesting about Jen Janai is that she's Irish. She's Irish, and she's making summary decisions about American elections and the political process. Pindar Suchai, who is also the head of Google at this point in time, also not American, right? He's making these decisions. So essentially what we have is we have young globalists who believe in a certain type of ideology. They're the ones that are responsible for throttling content and creating the algorithms that bring you certain choices based on search information. We're going to get into this a little bit. Let me do this. Let me just reestablish once again. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Flame. I apologize for not being able to be over on YouTube, but apparently YouTube did not want to take the handshake today. It happens sometimes. YouTube said, screw you, Robert Phoenix. We were looking at, YouTube has gotten very sophisticated in real-time monitoring. You know, last week on Friday, I did a show, and I knew that the show was going to be probably hit with a copyright infringement because I was using footage from a fairly well-known, popular documentary by a guy by the name of Julian Temple, The Future is Unwritten, Joe Strummer. And about 3/4 of the way through my video, YouTube shut me down because I was using clips from the video, the documentary. So you can see the video, but you just can't see it in the US. I guess if you can change your VPN client, you can grab it and watch it. So anyway, they're getting very sophisticated. So they may have just read my headline and said, "Oh, we don't want this." So maybe I'll just change my headlines later in post. And I'll come up with more benign headlines. All right, let me play the video. This is the clip from the Project Veritas video that busted. Now, here's the premise of the video. There was a Google insider who came forward and brought documents and gave Project Veritas a ton of information, insider information about Google's plan to essentially rig search results, and not just for the 2016 or 2020 election, No, there's a lot more going on here. Now, Google is pioneering something called machine learning. Now, machine learning, I've talked about this before. Machine learning is a very sophisticated system. It's an algorithm or a series of algorithms. So what they've figured out and how they've kind of crafted this machine learning is that they take something that is directly related to what they want to teach an AI to do. So let's say they want to teach an AI how to start a car remotely. So you would basically program a function, and that would be kind of the baseline. Okay, so here you go, AI. You start the car remotely. You send a signal here, a signal goes there. You hit a switch, an internal switch. Then what they do is then they'll flood the AI with, well, you've got the history of the internal combustion engine. Oh, yeah, and you've got the history of automobile accidents and statistics around automobile accidents. And, oh, yeah, we're also flooding you with ideas about the social narrative and construct of the automobile in the 20th century as it relates to media, television, and film. Now, all of a sudden, this AI is getting doused with all these very kind of complex variables. And that's what machine learning is about. So then the machine can take all that complex information and begin to make theoretically more sophisticated and advanced decisions and protocols based on that information. So now you have an AI that's doing things that it was not really trained for. But because it's got all this tangential material, it's able to make complex associations with that original construct or that original kind of blueprint or key code or key command. Do this, but then there's all these other things that are associated with that do this. And now what you have is you have a really robust program that might be able to maximize not only its ability to start a car remotely, but who knows what else. And there have been some very interesting stories based around machine learning. So now what they've done is they've taken machine learning. They've created a program at Google called ML Fairness. Now, fairness is what they're trying to promote. They're trying to promote fairness inside of search results and inside of search results and inside of surfacing content. Okay. Now, fairness is doublespeak because what they're doing is they're defining fairness by unfairness. So let's say, for instance, the fair thing to do would be to offer up, let's say you typed in Donald Trump MAGA, okay? And so in fairness, if you're interested in Donald Trump MAGA, I'm not really interested in Donald Trump MAGA, but it's something that we can kind of, wrap our heads around. You would get search results that are related to Donald Trump MAGA, the origin of MAGA, blah, 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 and then maybe about 6 or 7 search results down, you would find different search results that might not be as, say, pro-MAGA. But out of that 10, top 10, it might be 5 and 5. That would be fair, right? Wrong. Because with ML Fairness, what Google has done is that through machine learning, it has learned to recalibrate and redefine fairness as unfairness. So if they believe that the MAGA ideology is unfair, then what they will do is they will surface content to combat that and thus make it more fair. So they're making internalized philosophical and moral decisions based on what they think is fair and unfair. Now, they realized that they got their asses whooped in 2016. Okay, They had their technology, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, the creators, the gods of these technologies had their technologies usurped. That's what happened. And they have vowed not to let that ever happen again. That they are going to rig and contort the algorithms so that people cannot have the same kind of impact through social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google search results, that they had in 2016. They do not want to allow another Donald Trump situation to occur. In fact, they want to defeat Donald Trump. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that all unfolds. Now, if Trump was smart, he'd understand this. And he would not just, I don't think breaking Google up or breaking Facebook up is the thing to do. No, I don't think so. I think what they have to do is they have to go in to that section 230 where they define whether a company is a publisher or a platform. That has got to be changed, because what these companies are doing, they're making publishing-based decisions. And if they're making publishing-based decisions, then our rights, theoretical rights, our First Amendment rights, are being abrogated. But because they're a platform, they have a, how do I say this? They have protections, because they're if you really, really, really want to get to the heart of this thing, you got to get in and change Section 230. That's the only way this thing is going to get smoked out. I'm going to play this for you. This is the Google video. This is just the kind of the intro that that Veritas put together. You can only find this on BitChute now, because Google/YouTube won't allow you to see it. Okay, they will not even allow criticism of their own product. We're living in a pretty dangerous, slippery, slopery world. But some people will say, "Oh, wow, that's great. That's really great." You know, the Google's looking out for us because we don't want these Neanderthal knuckle-dragging people to continue their unspooling of hate and ignorance and prejudice and racism and sexism and fascism. But that's just the ad hominem endgame. They never, ever really want debate. All they want to do is just shut you down. Everything is like embedded in this Orwellian doublespeak, right? They talk about fairness. They have their own definition of fairness. Fairness is based on unfairness. And if they deem something to be unfair, then they will provide the fair alternative or the fair solution or the fair search result. What about tolerance? Tolerance isn't really about tolerance. It's about intolerance. Tolerance. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll tolerate points of view that we espouse, that we promote. We'll tolerate that. But what we won't tolerate are points of view that are counter or contrasting to our points of view, because that now falls under the umbra of intolerance, right? So when we get into these terminologies, they're really about doublespeak. And to understand them, you've got to like kind of twist them on their heads. All right, let me play this video. Here we go.
The reason why I decided to come to Project Veritas is because people need to know what's actually going on with Google. There's this facade about what they're doing, but what they're actually doing, what the employees are actually seeing inside the company is different.
But the reason we launched our AI principles is because people were not putting that line in the sand, but they were not saying what is fair and what's equitable. So we're like, well, we are a big company, we're going to say it.
People who voted for the current president do not agree with our definition of fairness.
They're not objective piece. They're not an objective source of information.
But then there are teams which are called ML fairness.
ML fairness, the teams?
Fairness, like,
Yeah.
you need to be fair.
And we're also training our algorithms, like if 2016 happened again, would the outcome be different?
They are a highly biased political machine that is bent on never letting somebody like Donald Trump come to power again.
2020 is certainly on top of, now my old organisation, Trust and Safety, is top of mind. They've been working on it since 2016 to make sure we're ready for 2020.
This is a Goliath I am but of David, trying to say that the emperor has no clothes.
He got called in front of Congress multiple times. They can pressure us, but we're not changing.
Being a
So, do you see that? Did you see that? We're having our consciousness, theoretical consciousness, at the very least our choices, being mediated and moderated and filtered by some theoretically well-meaning, okay? I'm going to cut her a little slack. In her mind, she believes she's doing really good work based on the ideology that she is embracing. She's doing the Lord's work because she sees people in a particular light. I'm not going to sit here. Okay, I could sit here, and maybe I will a little bit. I'll take a few pokes. But I'm trying to take a higher road, kind of a more holistic 360-degree view of this woman. The problem with women like Jen Janai, or men like Jen Janai, or Sundar Pichai, the problem with these people is that they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble. She was at some Mexican restaurant in probably Palo Alto, right? She's probably got a nice little place. She's in the Google bubble. You go to Google, everything's taken care of. You get massages, enemas, they just take care of you, right? So she lives in a bubble. What Jen Janai does not do is Jen Janai does not go to other parts of America. I lived in California. I lived in Silicon Valley. I worked in Silicon Valley. I was a Silicon Valley not really 1.0, because that would be like Hewlett Packard and those people. I was Silicon Valley 2.0. I got to Silicon Valley in the heart of it in 2000. I signed my Silicon Valley deal, my contract in 1999. I signed it in the 20th century. Okay, 20th century. So I planted but before then, I was a journalist, and I was involved in a lot of Silicon Valley tangential kind of material. So I was in and around that area. It was a fun time. It was a really, really fun time. I can tell you that at a high level, those people live in bubbles. They live in bubbles. They don't get out. They don't get out at all. They don't come to places like Fredericksburg. They don't come to places like Topeka, or they don't go to places like Hattiesburg. They don't get out. They don't understand people kind of east of Vacaville. They just don't. They're in a bubble, and their bubble is an insulating bubble, right? So everybody is there basically reflecting their values, their consciousness, their ideas. And so they are, and this is what happens in groups. This is what happens in groups. And even people that are outside of that, let's say you're on the right or the independent side, whatever, we wind up getting inculcated by our own values and ideas because of our group formation and our kind of our nodes that are connected to us through that. I get that, right? I get that. But there are some groups that I think are more insular than others, and she's living in a bubble. That's just the way it is. And I saw it. And the higher you go up the hierarchies, the more bubble-like it gets. And so everybody is there confirming each other's bias and opinion and belief and narrative. And so they're on a mission from God. They're on a mission from God. Now, in order for them to break out of that, here's what I think. I don't think everybody can break out of that. I don't. I think some people are predestined, that they have a switch inside of their genes that allows them to break their programming and then step outside the box. And you have it or you don't. You have it if you have it sort of dormant, it's there and it can be triggered, and then you can wake up. It's there. If you don't have it, I guarantee you're not watching this video. It's the bot. And if you are watching this video, you're making a lot of rationalizations in your head as to why I'm nuts or angry or ignorant or hateful. Fill in the blanks. If you do have it, then you'll think, maybe there's something there. Maybe I should look around. Maybe I should step outside of my bubble a little bit and see what's going on. I saw it. I saw it in Silicon Valley, and it's gotten worse. I can tell you that right now, because the people that were there 2.0, like the people that were there 1.0, sort of the HP people, and then the offshoots of HP, well, those people were like cowboys. They were pioneers. They did a lot of psychedelics. They hung out places like Santa Cruz, which was kind of close to, that part of the Bay Area, Palo Alto, Stanford, Mountain View, Sunnyvale, San Jose. Steve Jobs is kind of like that. Steve Wozniak, they all did acid. They hung out in Santa Cruz. They were like cowboys. They were like psychedelic cowboys, out on this kind of new frontier, right? And then you have people like John Perry Barlow and, kind of the next generation of people. They created the Well. They created the EFF, all those things. They've got military-industrial complex roots, don't get me wrong. But that was kind of 1.0. 2.0 was kind of like that, but a little bit more denatured. You started to have people graduating from colleges with degrees in software engineering and programming. Like a lot of those people early on were just, learning code on the side and putting it together. They may have had engineering degrees, or they came out of their training at places like HP or IBM and did other stuff, right? Well, the second wave was actually educated in colleges across the country in order to get those skills. And they came into Silicon Valley. I was there. I was a part of that. The CEO of the company that I worked for was a graduate at University of North Carolina, computer science. There you go, right? This is a whole different generation, whole different wave. And in 20 years, 2 decades, there's a tidal shift. But not only was I part of sort of that bubble and seeing how the bubble has really become intense and crystallized, I was part of another bubble, which was kind of the New Age bubble. That was because I was connected to Marin County, which is in some ways connected to Silicon Valley, but different. It's a different bubble story. Anyway, they're living in bad bubbles. They're living in bad bubbles, and at the same time, I don't think everybody is capable of breaking out of their bubble. I just don't. I don't. It's like that scene from They Live when Roddy Piper is beating the hell out of Keith David, or they're beating the hell out of each other, and he forces the sunglasses on him. He's forcing him to switch his DNA, right, so he can wake up and see what's going on. And the thing about waking up is that waking up happens in stages. You think you have like the truth, but then you find out, well, you had a truth there for a while, and then you go deeper. Oh, wow, there's this. Oh, wow, there's this. Then finally, you get to what are the stages? The red pill stage and the black pill stage. Was that the final awakening? The black pill. Anyway, but this is a really dangerous, important time that we're living in. Because the lords of Silicon Valley, the gods of the digital airwaves, they're not really airwaves, but the digital transmissions, cybernetic flow of information, they're the ones that are determining what we can and cannot see, vis-a-vis search results, or whether my video doesn't show up on YouTube one day because I hit play and it doesn't show up. They're the ones that are doing it. And we are in the midst We're in the midst of a soft conflict, a soft war. Isn't that interesting how software and soft war sound relatively similar? Take the E out of software and you get soft war. Speaking of E, I read where Burning Man is going to have drug testing now. Wow. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it. I do not know how the hell they're going to drug test 40,000 people. But Burning Man is over. Not that I'm a huge proponent of Burning Man. I've been a couple times. First time was great. I think it was like 4,000 people there. Maybe 3,500. 3,500, 4,000 people is great. Second time, a lot bigger. Now it's a virtual city. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Larry, who is the founder of Burning Man, passed away last year. And I don't know what's going on with that organization. A lot of people will say, fine, it's just some kind of, luciferic event. And they're probably not that far off, to be honest with you. Probably not that far off. But I experienced some pretty interesting stuff the first time I was there. That's for sure. I saw UFOs. I saw UFOs in Black Rock Desert at Burning Man 2 times. So that was interesting. Some of the other stuff was pretty interesting. Back then it was cool. I remember one day just walking around and there's some guys throwing a football on the playa. I'm out there playing football, throwing a football with these dudes on the playa. It's like, this is great. Didn't know who I was. Didn't know who they were. Chucked it around for about 20 minutes, worked up a sweat, and go off and have a beer. It was cool. It was a good scene. Is anybody in the chat room today? Let me just check out. See where we are. See if we got any chat action. Chattage. See what we got. Come back. Let's see. Let's see. What we got? Interesting. I get to notice that I remember. Good morning. Good morning from Paulette. Hey, what's going on? Chris and Steve slept in late. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I'm just not there. I ain't there. It is not happening. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to play you something. This is a really, really humorous little video. And by the way, I want to thank everybody who does show up here, whether it's here on 15 Minutes of Flame or over on YouTube. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to thank everybody for flipping your switches, your internal switches, so that you could remain open. Got your high beams on. Thanks for doing that. It's not easy. You wind up alienating people. It's a real risk. Awakening is it's a hard luxury. How's that? A hard luxury. Like, we have to have it. I think we have to have it, but it's hard. It's difficult. It's a let's call it a hard gift. All right. Speaking of hard gifts, so there's this woman who is accusing Trump of raping her. Okay, I gotta find this thing. This is crazy. I gotta. Let's get the background on this. Okay, her name is E. Jean Carroll. Trump accused of rape in E. Jean Carroll's memoir. Where's the outcry? This is from USA Today. The president accused of rape, but media and public response is muted compared to previous allegations of sexual assault against him and other powerful men. Is it Trump or hashtag MeToo fatigue? advice columnist E. Jean Carroll Friday publicly accused President Donald Trump of raping her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room in the 1990s. When news of the story first broke, media coverage and public commentary was muted. In a detailed excerpt from her upcoming memoir, What Do We Need Men For?, a modest proposal published in New York Magazine on Friday, Carroll says Trump pinned her against a wall, pulled down her tights, and penetrated her. Trump over the weekend repeatedly denied the allegation. Okay, so E. Jean Carroll, she's got a book coming out, and it's about what do we need men for? And why isn't the mainstream media not paying attention to her? You want to know why? You want to know why? Watch this. Watch this, and you'll know exactly why. Oh, it's not playing. Oh. Come on. Why aren't you playing? All right, let me try this again. Oh, man. Okay. You got to watch this. You got to find her on Anderson Cooper. Dang. Here I am trying to do my hold on a sec. Let's do... Set an image. It's a capto. Let's try it again. No.
Victim.
Here we go.
You don't feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. Which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Did you catch that? Anderson Cooper, who is no stranger, I'm sure, to kink, okay? He's an elite. Gloria Vanderbilt was his mother. He comes from the Vanderbilt blue blood family. He's a CIA operative. He's probably up to his third eye and eyes wide shut. Shit, right? And he's like taken aback. You actually see him physically go, whoa. The reason why there isn't an outcry because the woman has no credibility. She has no credibility. First of all, she's hammered. You can tell she's hammered. She's had a few cocktails, and she thinks rape is sexy. That there's a lot of fantasies about rape. Now, I'm not a woman. I don't know if there is or there isn't. As a man, I've never had rape fantasies. Does that make me less of a man? I don't know. It's not something I've thought about this before. It's like I don't have fantasies about raping. That's not my thing. I'm sure some men do. I don't. I'm not a woman. I've never, I don't know if women have rape fantasies. Maybe if you're really honest with women and they're honest with you, maybe some of them will say they do. I don't know. Clearly, E. Jean Carroll does. And she just completely lost the plot on Tucker Carlson. Completely. That's why she's not credible. USA Today, that's why she's not credible. If she had been raped in a sexier fashion, she might have liked it. Apparently, Donald Trump, if that indeed did happen, sounds to me like it was consensual, if indeed it did happen. I think Trump might be a bad lay. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe he's just a bad lay. I'm not saying he is or he isn't. But, women are complaining. Or maybe he's really great. I don't know. And they want him back. But apparently for her, that was not sexy enough. It was not a turn on Just take that woman and move her off to the side. She's not relevant. I'm sorry. She's not relevant. USA Today, report on that. All right, let me get back to you guys. See what you're saying about this. She was on Charlie Rose and pushed the rape sexy fantasy. Rose told her it was sexual assault crime. Not only that, he started stuttering. I know, right? I know. Anderson Cooper, that guy's seen it all, right? He's seen it all, probably. And even he was taken aback by that thing. I had to watch that about 4 or 5 times just because of the unintentional humor around it. Blows my mind. All right, I should have the links up for the event today. I just have to hammer out a few things with the hotel. I'll be working on the page today and that'll be on both websites, 15 Minutes of Flame and robertphoenix.com. You're going to have to come up with a $100 deposit for the event, and all the details are going to be there. Just have to hammer out a few things, and once it's there, it's there. So today is the day. Check back on the sites. Do not call the hotel looking for rooms. The hotel is booked. It's booked. The reason why it's booked is because I got a lot of rooms. Okay, that's it for today. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to step on what's possible. If you want a It's Okay to Be a White Cat tee, I'm putting the order in. I've already sent the elements to the t-shirt maker. So you want to jump on board because that train is leaving. And I think it's going to be a limited run. I may find a third party that will just do them on demand, and I'll just leave it up on the website. But for now, the initial shipment is getting ready to be taken care of. So if you want one, go to 15 Minutes of Flame. There's a link on the right-hand side. There's a nice drop-down. Find your size, and let me know. The men's, I think we're just going to get gray lettering. Decided to scrap the pink lettering. It'll be gray. So unisex. But we'll have male and female shirts. So just pick what you want. All right? I'm out of here. Use your head to discern what's real. Your heart to step on what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. I'll be back tomorrow. And hopefully over on the YouTube side of things. Have a great day on this passionate